Welcome to the Minx Muse podcast. I'm your host, Crimson Minx, creatrix of Minx Muse, a fiercely feminine playhouse that cultivates self-discovery and empowerment through classes, workshops, and events centered around esoerotic dance, transformative movement, and mystical exploration. During this podcast, I'll be having candid conversations with fiercely feminine witches, seductresses, and dark goddesses living in Austin, Texas. Welcome, Tara Valkyrie, to the Minx Muse podcast.
I'm so happy to be here.
How are you today?
I'm wonderful.
Oh, thank you for joining us. And what are we drinking today?
We are drinking some cider in celebration of spring.
Yes.
Yay.
Happy spring, even though it's rainy and cold out.
Welcome to Texas.
Well, my dear, how would you sum yourself up in one sentence or less?
I would sum myself up as a teacher, an artist, creatrix, and a facilitator of self-discovery.
Ooh, how magical.
Yes.
So, breaking that down, what is it that you do? What are, like, your creative pursuits right now?
So, first and foremost, I teach. I teach here at Minx Muse, and I love always finding innovation in my classes. I love learning. I'm also an artist. I make jewelry out of upcycled materials. I do painting. I do drawing. And I'm just always finding ways to celebrate nature. So, yeah.
And you dance.
And I dance. I'm also a performer.
You're a burlesque performer.
Yeah, I love taking off my clothes.
Back to that nature thing.
There's
nothing more natural than
naked. And just celebrating the feminine. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would describe you very much as, like,
yes.
living in your feminine. So were you, like, what was your path to that? Have you always been, like, a dancer, artist?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay.
No. So my background, kind of my educational background is in science. I used to be a high school teacher.
Not for teacher.
Yeah. And, my fascination, probably the core of it, I've always been fascinated in biology, in the way we humans are connected with everything, including ourselves. And so that's kind of where this began. And movement became such a huge part of my physical and mental health. And then I took that plus my love of teaching and eventually found the path I'm on now. And there's lots of twists and turns. You can read all about it in my book that I'm going to write at some point in the future.
Nice.
But yeah, so basically I saw...
when did you stop teaching?
I stopped teaching in 2012.
Okay.
Stopped teaching high school.
Yes.
In 2012. And, I found pole dancing through S Factor, and then I began dancing at clubs in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the opportunity to begin teaching pole. And I realized that, like, my love of teaching is a huge part of who I am. And then I realized that the journey that I was going on personally, just this self-discovery and this deep, deep transformation that was, beautiful and chaotic and ugly and beautiful all at the same time, all of those things. I realized other people are going through that, and, it can be scary. And so I learned to take my interest in transformation plus just the fun of teaching and began to explore from there.
Yeah, you teach some fun things.
Yes, I do.
Like you mentioned, you teach pole and you teach dance and movement.
Mm-hmm.
You also teach a class here called Elemental Emotion.
Yes.
That I think is really unique. And so I know that it's something that has developed over time, and it's really like your baby. So what is Elemental Emotion?
So Elemental Emotion, at its core, it's a class about release. It's about taking, for example, what Dr. Peter Levine calls our felt sense, kind of our inner world, and that involves our feelings, our memories, our emotions, the way we experience our past, our present within the physical body. What elemental emotion does is it uses the primary ways that our body expresses itself. So breath, sound, and movement. And there's a ton of different modalities. I did not invent that. That is that's something that's very common across many modalities. But where it begins, really, I would say, we take those methods and we allow the body to express itself. And so it's energetic expression, it's emotional expression, it's movement. And it's really just meant to also reconnect us. We've been taught to kind of disconnect our brain from our body. And it's meant to reconnect us to that and to get us back in touch with our body wisdom, our body voice, and our intuition.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So yes, definitely there's so many people that these are just like basic awarenesses of the human body that we can all create our own personal practices with. You just kind of created your
this is my take on that.
And it's very creative. So like I go to class, what's happening? So I know the mat's down, so it's you stay on a mat.
Yes, it's a mat-based class entirely. And that was part of the evolution of it. And we begin with a coming to presence or a grounding practice every class. That is the first thing we start with. And it's really just a checking in with yourself. And it's an authentic checking in with yourself. Really just sitting with, where are you physically? What's going on in your mind? What are you feeling in your body? Our body offers us so much wisdom as to what we've been dealing with, whether it's just a stressful day, a stressful drive, whether we've been sitting with something like, maybe we're working through a trauma, or maybe we're working through chronic tension that we don't have the answer to yet, but we're sitting with it. So how do we work through that every day so that we can thrive in our everyday? Because the reality is life is not cut and dry. It's not like, okay, I fixed this problem and I'm done. The reality is we're always going to be dealing with certain things. So how do we find peace in our day? How do we thrive? And how do we begin to interpret what our body is telling us? So after the grounding, I do a physical check-in, which is self-touch. The power of our touch is incredible. And we're so used to turning it outward to help others. Yeah. So we take that power, that magic that we all contain, and we're turning it inward. And it's not only just a reaffirmation of our physical boundary, but also just a reclaiming of our power, a pulling back in so that we can go back out and be the awesome creatures that we are. Yeah. And then after that, we move through some breath work, and I pull from different modalities with that. Within the yoga practice, there's prana breathing, there's kundalini breath. We do some work with qigong breathing, and it's all just meant to begin to move the energy. I'm also a Reiki practitioner, so I'm very well aware of the chakras within the body. So certain breath to activate those energy points and getting that moving. And at the very basis, that kind of revitalizes and rejuvenates us, especially at the end of the day when this class takes place. And then also, again, that's part of the reconnection. I think reconnection with our body begins with breath. And then I kind of cue the class to check in with certain feelings and experiences within the body. There are certain modalities that I'm trained in where they access emotion, and that's very, very powerful. I've kind of moved to accessing experiences, memories, feelings, because oftentimes when you pick one emotion, sometimes we kind of get choked in that, trying to interpret that through the way our brain would describe it. And the reality is we've all had those experiences where you're feeling 8 different things at once. And so just moving in that, letting it be more of a primal thing. And I will cue, what does that feel like in the body? Where is it? What does it sound like? How does that breath, when you're exhaling, what does that breath feel like? Where is it coming from? Is it coming from up high? near your throat chakra? Is it coming from down in your belly? And then there's kind of a freestyle movement time where if there's anything that needs to be shaken out or moved, however every person needs to move, it's up to them. And then we usually finish with some basic trauma release exercises. So if you've taken any workshop by Dr. Berselli, that method, it's just about shaking the body, getting it moving, and kind of doing this neurological reset. We're the only creatures who don't do that. Other mammals, they shake, and we just don't do it.
Like my cat gets up and does this.
And then because our ego gets involved. We're like, oh, I look stupid as I'm shaking. So that's also why the lights are down, and it's a mat-based experience. And so we shake and we reset, and then we come back to grounding, kind of closing out that circle, coming back into ourselves. And people leave really refreshed and really just...
The most common thing that I've gotten is that it's like movement therapy.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I just went through therapy.
Right.
Me too. And from when I'm usually out here working the front desk, what's going on, it's like I always think people who are like walking by, like, what the hell is going on? She's just like, ah!
Right. Yeah, you hear like screaming. We call it the screaming class.
It's totally so much screaming, but it's like primal. It's to me, it's like this is so natural, and so to me it's not weird. It's very much like we should be doing this more often. This is so primal of like recognizing the energy and working it out through like your body, not working it out through like pills or working it out through other maybe unhealthy addictions and like that. Like you can really, and something that I always think of is how they say like, I think we've talked about this. You don't clean your house once and then it's
right.
Don't have to worry about that. It's the same way with your body. So like making this an ongoing practice is going to keep it quote unquote clean, Yes, absolutely. And also I feel too that, as you continue to do this, you get to know your body better. And sometimes we've all had those situations where a situation or a conversation or something lands on us, and we kind of we're uncomfortable. We don't quite know what to do with it. And either we numb it out or we lash out at somebody or we think something's wrong with us. And so this class also kind of starts to help you interpret those signals. And be like, okay, what landed, what is it about the situation? And we start to be able to interpret and be able to kind of react better in our everyday. Like, wait, I recognize that now.
Now I know what my body is saying. So
I feel like so many of us just as humans forget that like we have the ability to control our emotions and our body reactions and things like that.
Absolutely. We have that power. And then this also creates a safe place to explore emotions without the need for validation or explanation. Because of course, out in, the workplace, out in society, we do have to control ourselves. We're not toddlers and we've seen what happens when we don't. And so, but we might be sitting with something and we've all been taught, all of us have a story of at least one emotion that we were shamed about, that we were not supposed to express, that's not safe, it's not okay. And the reality is, to quote Bernadette Pleasant, she's the creator of Femme, who I'm also trained in, and incredible. She says all the time that there are no bad emotions. But a lot of times we've been taught that there's a bad emotion, or that if we're sad, we have to explain it, or if we're upset, we have to validate why. And the reality is, your body's experiencing it. Just let yourself in there, let yourself experience what it is. And, if you have a recurring cognitive hang up, we have amazing counselors and therapists for that. But this is just about moving that energy in the body, because that's what it is, and moving that without attaching anything to it, just letting yourself experience it. So important.
Yeah, I would think definitely if you're working with a licensed therapist or something, doing this in tandem with it, would probably really enhance your results or give you, maybe feeling a bit more connect it with understanding what's going on,
Yes.
but then having a practice connected to like physically healing.
Yes, and I have a few private clients that they do exactly that. They're in talk therapy, and that's absolutely vital. But then they also work with me one-on-one just to process out the emotion or to process out reactions that they're having to certain things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a big testament to the energy you hold in the room during it. There's also there's also amazing music playing.
Oh yeah, that's one of my addictions. I'm addicted to music.
No, it's like a real bitchin' playlist. It's not like some like hippy dippy like.
No man, we get playing. Yeah, we get powerful with that.
Yeah, some good like. Yeah, some good cool tunes.
Yeah.
Check it out on our Spotify.
Yeah, check out Elemental Emotion playlist on Spotify.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm noticing like that there does seem to be this new interest, or maybe it's just new to me, I don't know, but I do feel like holistic healing is becoming more popular these days. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'm not just...
No, it's not just you. It's not just you. It's not just you.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are just interested. I don't know if there's just this increased understanding of like, hey, like I wanna feel better, and how do I do this? And turning away from drugs, as we're finding out.
The opioid crisis. I mean, that is hitting. Yes. I mean, it's been going on. But yeah, I really think that partly, you have the opioid crisis, you have what's going on with insurance across the country.
I know.
And just, I think there's just a general shift. I think too, a lot of us are just becoming aware that there's such a connection between lifestyle, stress, and health.
Stress is also at like a high.
Yeah.
I think because of, computers and blah, blah, just.
We're being pressured to be wired in, and, social media is a beautiful thing, but I think we're being pressured to always be operating at 1,000%.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, even there's no downtime, or there's no like rest.
Yes.
And I think people are recognizing that and going back to more traditional roots, and that comes with healing as well.
Yeah. I think we're realizing the value in preventative healthcare.
Yeah.
And within that is just, realizing too, because medications absolutely have a place.
For sure.
But a lot of times, a lot of these health issues, as long as, they can really be nipped in the bud, they can be prevented if we're doing kind of everyday maintenance. And I think it began with yoga. And when yoga began to become popular again, and then that opened up a lot of different avenues for other holistic health practices. And I think that we are also, now the research is catching up, that we're seeing that this is backed by science. It does have tangible benefits, and it's so much healthier than just turning directly to pills, turning directly to other substances, and then realizing that it not only affects, it's not just the weight loss and the anti-aging thing that's always been popular, but it also, we feel better and we are more productive when we allow ourselves to take time for self-care.
And I think part of that is what you were saying before, is connecting with your body. I think so many of us are so disconnected from our body that we don't even realize we don't feel good.
Yeah.
And when you start doing some of these practices and you realize, I feel good, you kind of forgot what it was like to feel good.
Yeah.
I haven't felt good in so long. But,
yeah.
oh wow, that's what it's like to not have my shoulders constantly crunched up to here, and to feel a bit of peace with myself. Yeah.
And that's what I love about so many classes here, is they're all designed. And I think we also, which I love about this studio as well, because it's a playhouse. It's a playhouse. We have forgotten the importance of joy and having fun as well. Elemental emotion, we go pretty deep. We are really getting primal with it, but it's also, there's aspects that are meant to be fun.
Yeah.
It's not just the screaming. We joke that's the screaming class, but just this past week, when I was encouraging to let out whatever's in, two of these students were giggling, and it was the most beautiful thing. And so I think realizing too, part of holistic health is re-embracing that sense of fun. Because we forget about that with the adulting.
Must win, must achieve.
Must achieve, must
bigger,
win.
better, faster,
Yes.
stronger. Yeah.
Yes. Must be posting on the social medias.
Yeah.
Must be doing all this, amazing stuff. And I think really I think there's also the link, the environmental movement is also, we're realizing that you don't have to be spending a bunch of money, buying all this stuff, that the holistic movement, you have all the tools within you. And I think that's very empowering.
What's like something if someone was like, I want to incorporate one kind of healthy, holistic thing in my daily practice that's like something very simple someone could add in?
So I would say, and I know this may be a triggering word for people, meditation. But before even meditation, just presence.
Okay.
And one of the most basic things that I do every day, and I do it before I eat. And it's basically just breathing. And basic.
Be present.
Be present with your breath. And I do 5 deep breaths. And that's a very, very basic.
Through the nose, through the mouth?
So I have a tiny nose. So when my allergies are bad, I'll do it through my mouth. But what I try to do is inhaling through my nose and holding that for a second or two and then exhaling through my mouth.
Okay.
And just checking in with my body, checking in with, where are my thoughts at that moment. And then just checking in with how that breath feels. And if you can do more than 5, great. Yeah. But at the very least, just 5. And you can do that like in your office. You can do that in traffic. Just checking in with yourself.
And you're sitting and you're not swiping and you're not.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I put the phone down, You
kind of empty your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess that could kind of be a type of meditation.
Yeah, it's just, we tend to think of meditation as like this hour-long thing where we're holding one pose. It doesn't have to be that way. And just starting out, it can just be breathing. And then I like to check in as I'm doing that. I'll just check in around me and I'll pick 5 things I see. And then I'll pick 5 things that, I can hear. I do see and hear. And you can go through all the senses. You can do 5 things.
So you're just like acknowledging it. So
Acknowledging it.
Green curtains.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cinnamon broom in the corner. Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
Exactly. And it's just kind of...
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. It's just being present because too, even if we're not swiping, we're often thinking about, okay, I got this deadline. You're in your head. You're not always realizing, what's going on around you. You're not even realizing how you feel. One of my bad habits is I wait until I'm hangry. And then I'm sad and I'm like, why am I sad? I'm like, I haven't eaten in 9 hours. So I do that just to check in. And then I was like, oh, I should drink some water. I should,
Yeah.
And that also helps the creative process as well.
Yes.
Because when you take a break from that and you become present, and then when you check back in with whatever project you're working on, you're so renewed.
Anything. We had a Shanti, one of our amazing students here
last
night.
I love her.
She took our intro to eroticism class last night where we were just dancing. So you're out of your head, you're just dancing, you're getting into your body, whatever. She ran out and she's like, Crimson, I have all these ideas that happen during class. This always happens in the studio.
Right. Yes.
And she's like writing down her new creative ideas because it is when you're taking taking yourself away from your daily life and just getting in your body, moving, being present. Yeah. All of a sudden your creativity is like, oh.
Yeah, and there's so many scientific studies about movement and breath, about how that revs. There's so many brain benefits, but how that, creativity alone, that just revs your creativity. Yeah. And it just it gives you this neurological reset. And when you're more connected to your body, it's this amazing feedback loop because then you're getting more creative and then you feel better about yourself and about the projects you're working on. So then that makes you want to continue to explore and try new things. And then that again goes back into your mental clarity and your mental creativity. So
it
keeps
you passionate for life.
Yes, absolutely. It keeps you young.
Yeah. And speaking of energy healing, we've talked about all this, but you're also a Reiki practitioner, as you mentioned before.
Yes, I am.
So can you just explain what Reiki is for people who maybe are like, I heard the word.
Right. Yeah, so Reiki works with your body's energetic field. So some people can see auras. Some people say it works with your aura. I'm still working on the ability to see auras. I'm more of a tactile feeling person with that. But basically it works with your energetic body. And again, when we're out in the everyday environment, we're living our life, our bodies are so intuitive, and they pick up on energy. And you think about, I always use a big example of like, think about being in the Black Friday crush where you're like crazy. I mean, no matter whether or not you identify as empathic or not, just thinking about that makes you tired. And so that's an extreme example, but it's like when you're out doing things,
stuck in Austin traffic.
Stuck in Austin. Yeah, traffic. Stuck in traffic. And that's just the everyday. And then if you're dealing with a significant life event, and that can be something like buying a house, getting married, or maybe you're going through a grieving process, or maybe you're working through trauma, all of that starts to affect your energy, and then that starts to affect your body's metabolism, your emotional and mental outlook. And so what Reiki does is it brings the body into this very relaxed state. And I know that we've done sessions, and it's like,
she's good.
And a lot of people report they kind of zen out or fall asleep. That's very, very natural. And so it brings that body into that relaxed state. It's very similar to like a deep meditation, except it's super easy. You, the client, you get to lay there and just enjoy. And then I, the practitioner, kind of just help clear out that energy. So you end up feeling renewed and refreshed. And Reiki can be used in connection with talk therapy. Certain people who, I know at MD Anderson in Houston, they have Reiki practitioners that volunteer to work with the cancer patients that are having chemotherapy done. And it helps. They're doing a bunch of research right now. Preliminary results show that having that energy work done gives very positive results when done with those medical procedures. The body recovers faster, it heals faster. There's also, I have some clients that I'm working with that it helps with their chronic depression and anxiety. It just helps them feel more renewed. And then I have a few pet clients. Which is always fun. I just like the excuse to play with kitties and puppies. But yeah, so it's a form of energy work, and it can either be done with the practitioner's hands physically on the body, or it can be done in the energetic field. It's always client's choice.
Okay.
And there's a lot of just physical and emotional benefits with it. So,
it just feels like a massage, like a soul massage.
It is. And I kind of, it picked me. I remember the first time I got it done, I was like, okay, this will be my one-time thing. I was supporting a friend who was at this holistic fair.
Oh, cool.
And it totally changed my world. And I had no idea I was going to become a practitioner. And it's become a vital part of who I am. And it's infused in every one of the classes that I teach.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool because, and also you're an astrologer. We're gonna have you on another time to talk about that.
Yes.
But like that's another thing. So you do the Reiki energy in your classes, and you plan your classes around like the moon phases and things that are happening astrologically.
Yeah.
So like you'll be like, ooh, this week in elemental motion, working on this because it's a full moon and this.
Yeah, big time for release.
So you kind of just know what the general energies are, which is really helpful. Where you're like, oh, it's going to be like this today, and
yes. Yeah. So definitely using that to kind of work with the classes. Because astrology and the moon especially. I have a science background, and I always kind of laugh when people are like, "What does the moon have to do with us?" And I was like, "Well, it was here before we were ever here.
And we see how it affects the tides.
Exactly.
I mean, if it can affect the ocean like that. We are made of water.
Absolutely. And, you know, my brother's in law enforcement and I have close friends in the medical field. And as a former high school teacher, I can tell you at the full moon, just things get cray. And they have all been like, yes.
It's been confirmed.
Yeah, it's been confirmed. And so, and regardless of, you know, if you're a woman, regardless of whether or not you're actually having your own menstrual cycle, it still affects. Regardless of gender identification, everything. If you're a human being, if you're a creature on this planet, the moon is going to affect you. And so I try to plan using that energy because certain times it's going to be easier to manifest things.
Yeah.
It's going to be easier to release. There's a natural period where we are going to want to find rest versus really going out to create at that time. So, yeah,
I love how you have such like a wide array of knowledge in just energy arts, we'll call it.
Energy art. I like that. The energy arts.
You're pretty good at the energy arts. And just being able to like apply that.
Thank you.
To and like creating your own classes, but also we have a new class that you're starting to teach, Minx Muse Moon Club.
Yes.
Yeah, so
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. So that is going to be where basically it's dictated by whatever phase the moon we're in. It's going to be on a Monday, the day of the moon.
Moon day.
And then it's a self-care class. So every class it'll be like rich discussions of like topical conversations, and it will always include journaling exercise and a self-care ritual of some sort. It's just kind of like your weekly dose of self-love, self-expression. So again, so like putting it towards that and recognizing where we are energetically.
Yeah.
And making it fun, like a playful class around
it. Yes, making it playful, making it fun, and just getting that community, because that's part of self-care too. Yes. It's so important. It's so important. And, you know, we're all out being badasses. It's really easy to put the self-care on the back burner. So
yeah, and I have to say this is not shade on like online communities and things like that. But there's something about being with people in person versus like, okay, we're all going to do this call in, or we're all going to be in this Facebook group or whatever. Yeah. Those are awesome. And
yes,
those are
absolutely.
Tools. But then it's also nice to have an option like, wow, I want to connect with people energetically. I want to feel their energies. I want to be with actual people and being able to do that in person too.
Yeah, because that's so powerful. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we haven't even touched on your dancing and burlesque.
Oh, I know. That'll have to be another.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely have you back multiple times. You're interesting enough that we can put you in chunks.
Thank you.
So yes, future episodes to come on those things and how she applies her witchy knowledge to her burlesque enchantment.
Yes.
And her astrology. But let's move on to the questions that we ask everyone.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Ooh. So question number 1, what is your personal mantra?
My personal mantra is it's very simple. It's always grow and always learn.
Always. That is you.
Yeah.
That's the teacher in you.
Yeah, it's the teacher in me.
Yeah, you do a lot of teaching and you do a lot of teacher training.
Yes.
And you know, ongoing education and stuff. So.
Yeah, I feel to be the best teacher, you have to constantly be a student. You have to constantly be learning, and always be open to learning. And one thing I love about teaching is in every one of my classes, my students teach me so much. I'm always learning from them. I'm always open to whether it's direct feedback or whether it's just observing and seeing how they're taking something that I've created and then making it even better. So it's a big thing.
Yeah, totally. What is your favorite sensuous indulgence?
Oh, wow, I have like 20.
I know.
I'm a Pisces, so I'm all about the water. Okay. My favorite sensuous indulgence is just, I love to just have like a long bath, like, and either it's bubble bath or it's like a salt bath with essential oils. And I'm super extra. Like I get all my candles and my crystals. And I have like wine and my chocolates. And I take that as just a time to just, be in myself. And my rule is like I'll read a book, but it has to be like an actual book or my Kindle. It can't be on my phone.
The kind of phone.
Yeah. And I go in the bathroom and it's like an hour. Like I'm wrinkly when I get out. Like that's how long I hang out in there. That's one of my favorite ones. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Like just allowing yourself the time to like.
Yes. Just to pamper myself. Yeah.
I dig it.
Yes.
So what is something you are currently manifesting?
Oh, so as part of the growth thing, I'm currently manifesting. I'm taking a lot of my classes. One of my chronic things is I'm always over planning for my classes. And then I realize like, okay, I planned 4 hours worth of awesomeness and I have, an hour. So I'm currently manifesting several workshops. Cool. And then long term, I have plans for weekend-long events. Yeah. And I'm still in the baby planning phases of those, but it's begun. Yes. And just really manifesting. I'm really drawn to kind of the everyday person, and everyday person that's working, that's living their life. And we hear about these amazing luxury things, which are incredible. I'm amazed at the kings and queens that are doing these incredible, week-long retreats in Fiji and things like that. But I'm also, because I'm an everyday person, that, I want to bring a bit of that empowerment and a bit of that just indulgence to the people that walk in the studio, the people that are out that we're interacting with every day. So that's what I'm working on long term. Yes. So
how do you make that type of like something that seems like is only for like high income earners,
exactly,
or for something like that? How do you create a healing, indulgent, sensuous experience for them where they can explore and learn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah. So kind of a treat yourself thing.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Invest in yourself.
Yeah, investing.
Don't have to cash out your 401k.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So you can take a long weekend, and it's like if you can get on a car or get on a bus, you can get there, and I'll take care of the rest.
So sign me up. I'm into
it.
And we were talking about the Beyonce documentary before, so I can say that. Watch it if you haven't yet. She does. I was never a Beyonce person. I didn't get it, and then something like pulled me to watch that documentary, and it just really inspired me creatively, and just made me want to be like a better version of myself. But anyway, I set that up saying because I saw someone post online that Beyonce took 8 months to prepare for a 2-hour performance, and then 12 months to create the documentary and album or whatever. And so, and the point being like, take your time with your manifestations, things like that was something that was 2 hours, so it's like, take your time. It's not like this needs to happen tomorrow. What are the small steps you take in the meantime to kind of get there? Because the overnight successes usually take about 10 years. Right.
Yeah, the overnight. Well, and I think that was such a powerful message because, again, as I said earlier, in this age of social media, we constantly feel like we have to be creating and putting it out there, because if it's not out there yesterday, we're going to get passed over and someone else is going to come up with it. And, someone told me recently, I was kind of psyching myself out, and I was like, oh, am I going to be enough? That was basically what my little like pity party was about. And they said, they're like, you are the only you. And yes, everyone is creating things, and there's going to be a bunch of amazing people that are creating things that sure are very similar to yours, maybe sound just exactly like yours, but you're the only you. Yeah. And that was really, really profound for me to realize that yes, I'm creating, and so everyone else is, and there's always going to be someone that's getting there before you. Yeah. But to take that time in that manifestation and to put in the work and honor your journey. honor your journey.
And you only have one chance to make a first kind of impression.
Exactly.
So you want to feel really confident in what you're manifesting, and you want to really nurture it as you're getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, sign me up, as I said. This sounds
amazing.
And final question: what is it something that we should all check out in Austin?
Oh man. Okay, so Austin's incredible. I would definitely say the show scene, the burlesque scene, is amazing. There's Boner Bazaar, that's incredible. Zoya is, part of that. Yeah. And then Velvet Knox Productions, they have a show coming up at Kick Butt Coffee May 18th. Mm-hmm. And their show is Tarotica, so tarot and burlesque. Yeah, it's
I wouldn't be surprised what your tarot character.
Yeah, I'm not gonna share that. You're just gonna have to show up and see. But I love them. I love there's such variety.
We had Miss O'Kissed on before.
Yeah,
and she does Black Widow burlesque.
Yes.
You're right. The scene here is like
and there's a Fat Bottom Cabaret. I mean, there's so many things. Just what I love about Austin is you have this art community, and then there's just the only drawback is sometimes you have shows on the same night, and you're like, which one am I gonna do?
Yeah, it would be cool to get more people outside of the communities to check these shows. I love that you said that because I think that people are doing some amazing creative work, and just being able to have people to support them. So if you're looking to do something on a Saturday night, there's bars at these shows, and there's socializing, and there's sometimes there's food and things like that. So maybe instead of going out to dinner, go to a show, grab a bite there, and see some titties.
Yeah, see some titties, see some tassels, see some ass,
some pole work. And
some
a lot
pole
of them have pole
work.
dancers in them now, and comedians, and sketch comedy and things like that. So.
Yeah, and then that's just traditional burlesque. I mean, there's just the boylesque. There's a lot of transgender performers. I mean, it's incredible. It's really incredible. There's never a lack of anything to do with the burlesque, on any day of the week. So.
I saw Louisiana Purchase do at the Alamo Ale House. He did an opening thing, and I feel bad. I can't remember who it was with. It was another glorious queen, and they did an opening for Showgirls at the movie theater, so you can even see these types of things going to the movies.
Yes.
Good call.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And go see Tara, because Tara performs in a lot of them as well. Your next one is Tarotica.
Yes, it is. And so check me out. I my performing name is Lilith Allure.
Yeah.
So and I'll be there, and you'll just have to see what my card is there.
Yeah. And I'm gonna put all her even though we're fuck social media, I'm but check out her social media.
But check out my social media.
The show notes, but you can look up Lilith Allure or Tarot Valkyrie.
Yes.
Come on out and play.
Absolutely.
Well, Tara, thank you so much for
thank you for having me on.
Cheers. It was so great.
Yes.
Speaking with you, and I so look forward. We're gonna have, I can tell, a bunch more conversations ahead.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for checking us out. Ooh. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Minx Muse podcast. You can find show notes and learn more about the studio at www.minxandmuse.com. Go get your life, boo, and we'll see you again soon.